Right, so Gary Lineker's position over the Tory Stop the Boats bill has seen him removed from the BBC presenter's job on Match of the Day, and his co-hosts on the BBC in Sports have walked out in solidarity with him, creating a mire of a situation at the Tory-run BBC, and should be demonstrating to the Tories that they're migrant bashing and scapegoating the only way they think they can win the next general election, unable to stand on their economic record, ruining the lives of ordinary people up and down the country in so many ways over so many years as they have. We'll see them get absolutely destroyed, which is nothing less than they deserve. But with Labour being completely two-faced regarding Lineker's comments, first condemning them, then condemning the BBC for removing him, they aren't exactly shining on an issue so much of the public are taking a great deal of notice of right now. So is there any political support for what Lineker has said at all? Yes, there is. The Green Party is currently in the middle of its spring conference, and an emergency motion brought forward to support Gary Lineker was not only allowed, but was passed last night. The motion read that Green Party conference expresses solidarity with Gary Lineker and instructs the external communicator to call on the BBC to reverse the decision to remove him from Match of the Day. The party believes in the principle of BBC impartiality, and it's clear the organisation is making a mockery of its own policy in this instance. Instead, the BBC are bowing to party political pressure and undermining free speech in the process. We believe that the point he was making around the deliberately cruel approach to Conservative asylum policy was entirely valid. The Conservatives' deliberate stoking of this issue as part of their incessant culture war also serves as a distraction from the urgent humanitarian crisis on our doorstep. The issue of desperate refugees should not be used as political football. Well, thank God someone can come out and say it, and not only say the words, but back them up by passing a motion on it too. External communicator mentioned there simply means a liaison figure between the Greens and the BBC in this case. In case you're also wondering about the bit that was scribbled out there in that image, the original motion also included the sentence, although we would not have used the language he used. An amendment had that removed because there was nothing wrong with the language he used. It was entirely accurate. This isn't the only thing that Green Party Spring Conference has passed in the face of the appalling migration policies being put forward by the Tories, though. The families of Ukrainian refugees who have already been settled here, as you might well know, have a visa system they can use to come here and join their relatives. But that isn't the case for all settled refugees here. It's all about where you came from. It isn't a fair system. The Greens would level that up to all settled refugees. Where Ukrainians can bring their families to the UK, Afghans can't, Yemenis can't. They fled war zones too. Why are they different in the eyes of the Tories? I just can't put my finger on it. They've also approved the policy of equalising voting rights to all migrants too. A Commonwealth migrant, or a migrant from a Commonwealth country, for example, gets the right to vote as soon as they've come to the UK. But another from the EU, for example, could have been here for years and yet has no voting rights here. That would also change under the Greens. Another policy would be to dismantle the Home Office. Radical stuff now, taking apart one of the great offices of state. Offices of state, even. Let's spit me words out. But what the Greens would do is split it into a Department of Migration and a Department for the Interior, so that criminal enforcement and immigration policy no longer go hand in hand. If you listen to Suella Braverman talk about people coming over in boats, how often does she refer to them as criminals? Illegal entry. They might have done this, that, or the other before they came here. The moment they apply for asylum, how they got here is nullified. Convictions for anything else are investigated as part of the asylum process. How they enter the country is irrelevant. They face no criminal prosecution for that, and nor should they when there is no legal route right now to come and claim asylum in the UK. Braverman hates that, though. But think about it. Should one person, one minister, have the say over both these things, law and migration? When we see the plight of migrants in boats, when you hear the words of Gary Lineker, when you agree that the language of the 1930s is on show here from the party in government, the Greens have a point here, surely, don't they? Still not finished, though. They've also pledged to abolish the no public funds condition, so everyone has the funds they need for essential needs when they're here, abolish the 10-year route to settlement that discriminates against women, children, and people of colour, end high migration fees and the exploitation of migrants for profit, because believe it or not, this government makes money out of it. Of course they do. Everything is about money, isn't it? The Greens will stop imprisoning people over immigration status and get them processed properly, and most importantly of all, take account of the fact that climate change is forcing people to move, and ensure we play our part and take our fair share of responsibility for that too. The Green Party of England and Wales laying out decent, fair, humane migration policy right now, happening right now. This was all done literally yesterday. But have you heard a word about it? Of course not, because God forbid the BBC or any other media outlet in the mainstream pointed out. None of them have covered it. That said, the Greens are rising in the polls, so maybe a lot of people are noticing. And although potentially an outlier, they were the third-placed party behind the Tories and Labour in a recent people polling poll. Spit that out 3 times fast. The fieldwork for which was done after the Tories announced their evil 1930-style refugee plans. Backing Gary Lineker from the beginning, putting policy on the table to meet the humane needs on migration issues. The Green Party is doing a damn sight more than anyone else in politics on this issue right now. There is hope. There is decency if you know where to look, but sadly our media won't help you to do that. So it might be worth checking out the Green Party directly for yourselves and see what else they're saying. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this vid, please do hit like and subscribe, leave a comment and hit the notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. Also look out for me on social media and other interesting stuff by clicking on the Linktree link in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Cheers, folks.